I was at local Swell Trackers, middle of July, and it is Sunday, and I'm GQ dropping in for you, and we're looking back here on the jet stream, the large upper air currents, like rivers of wind way up there in the troposphere. You know, they fly about as high as a commercial airline, and they have a huge influence on climate, and they push air masses around the globe and affect weather patterns, and we get our waves from these weather patterns known as low pressures. And so these large upper air currents, known as jet streams, are pretty important. That's why I like to start off with them. We'll start it in. The winds are super weak. Now, the jet stream winds can, when they're strong, they're at least up towards 200, even up to 250 knots. These are under 100, and it's hardly consolidated. You hardly see anything throughout the 7-day forecast period. We do have some disturbances in the upper level off here to our northwest the end of this coming week. But look at this, the jet stream's almost gone. Now, when you look at the South Pacific jet stream, we have one in both hemispheres. You'll see the difference because it's their austral winter and our summer, of course. Our jet stream lesson for the day is we're not getting anything from this jet stream in the North Pac until further notice. So the jet does cause the winds to begin spinning at the surface if there's enough energy to be imparted from those upper atmospheres down to the surface. Here's what we had about, well, last Sunday, the 8th, in fact. This was Super Typhoon Maria, got up to a Category 5, and the speed at which this system grew up into a super typhoon was the fastest on record, or at least one of them. And you can see a week ago, and as have been, large high pressures have been dominating the North Pac, keeping the trade wind swells up. You can see the colors moving in from the east, showing gales and enough for 2 to 4 foot wind swell. It dropped down towards the end of last week, kicking in the animations here as we go into the work week last week. You'd see it kind of mellowed out, so the surf dropped to about 2 feet Friday and then ramped back up here this weekend to solid 3 feet. So here we are back at Sunday the 15th and all the surface winds. Okay, now Sunday the 15th, current models, and we'll go out a whole week here thanks to Storm Surfer, the models. There we go. Look at that system coming up here, moving east towards the Big Island. This tropical disturbance has the potential to bring some thunderstorms to southeast offshore waters of the Big Island. That would be the end of this upcoming week, or maybe as early as the middle of the week. We'll wait and see. Looks like it's going to hit us here at this point. Let me roll the animations a little bit further and see what models currently suggest. Yeah, that it's going to just clip the Big Island. So we'll wait and see. Low pressures off the west coast have been pushing off towards us and bringing us some northeast swell. Northeast swell should be increasing midweek, and we may see more coming up from the northeast into the weekend. I wanted to roll the 7-day forecast back to Wednesday the 18th, taking a look at a storm over here northeast of Manila, 11W, tropical depression. Not going to bring us any waves, going to bring them plenty weather to the region. If that did catch your eye and wonder if this is going to recurve or we're going to see anything from it, the answer is no. Going back for a little hindcasting here, back to the 6th, Friday, quite a while ago, there was Maria here, and there was another system off of Baja. It brought us some 3 foot, 4 foot long period, 14-second east swell, straight east swell. It's when the North Shore was getting tons of east trade wind wrap for like 10 days straight. It was a pretty special time, and that's why I wanted to just show you this and explain what we saw there for quite a while. And then we're back to normal summertime activity where you see a lot of blues where the high pressures have been situated. Anywhere from 1030 to 1040. There's been pairs of high pressures to our north staying put. There was this low pressure last Thursday that'll pump us up to with 11-second northeast swell this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but nothing bigger than just average wind swell. Starting in the animations, you see it elongates and gets a little bit closer to us. This system off of Kamchatka is super weak, but the models do suggest a half a foot of swell at 10-11-second northwest, filling in Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But since it's only a half a foot, it's just not strong enough. It's weak gales, and it'll be maybe a foot of northwest swell mixing in with a little bit of trade wind wrap again for this upcoming week. But at least we have the northeast. It is going to be rideable. Rolling these things out further as time goes on, all potential swell, ground swell from the northwest gone. Trade wind swell wrap still hanging on. There's this tropical disturbance moving our way here I was showing you before. Continuing it on the animations. That's why we could see some unstable weather for this Wednesday, Thursday. And the upper level disturbance to our northwest is the reason why we have a little bit of instability right now. I'll get to that. I'll finish the north pack here with the swell periods. It's going to be very clear which season we're in here as we see what's coming up, the long period 20-second forerunners of this week for, again, especially Wednesday. Thursday, Friday, Saturdays when we're really going to be kicking in, and you hardly see anything trying to make its way over to us. These little weak systems I was just pointing to, like that 9 or 10-second northwest, a little bit of wind swell wrapping around, all for the North Shore, but most of it's going to be for our South Pack. All right, so the jet stream, here we go. North Pack gone. Down here, tons of energy. The more wind speeds in the upper atmospheres, the more consolidated, the deeper the purples, the more energy up there in the atmosphere. And moving down towards the surface, we can get some spinners going anytime you see these meridional flows or those dips. We like them to curve up, meridional flow here towards the equator, and that's why we're going to get a long shot of south swell to south-southeast swell. A lot of it will be sideband swell, just hitting our swell window just under Tahiti. Anything further east than that, and it kind of misses us, depending on how fat those periods are, how big the storm was. But definitely you can see what season we're in. All right, Sunday the 6th, a week ago. Look over here in the TAS. Look how long that is. Some 40, 45 knot winds, super long fetch. The system was going zonal or west to east, so we didn't have a whole lot of time for it. But let me roll these back a little bit. You can see how it got up to 30 south, which is into the subtropical zone. The tropics are 20 degrees up from the equator, 20 degrees below from the equator. The total miles there for the tropics is about 3,200 miles. That covers a lot of the Earth's area, about 40%, as well as about 40% of the population, rough estimate. But again, this particular swell, it's a little bit further north. That actually, looking at the surf today, it was supposed to be a little bit more solid, a little bit better than what we're actually seeing. And I think the track of this is why. Plus, there's a lot of islands up here that act as a cheese grater for the energy. The swell periods get through, but it takes down the swell heights. Kicking in the animations, you can see it passes over, and then we start to get a lot of energy up the east coast of New Zealand, the more classic zone. Wednesday 11th, you can see all those fetches, and there's just back-to-back swells with some high winds, some 55 knot winds, severe to storm force gales. These siblings are so close together that this guy will have an advantage because it will act upon the aggravated seas because of the storm to the north. And we get, again, another round of the same scenario. This one's Thursday. If you go out about a week for any one of these systems, really fun waves. Overhead will be above average here for a long haul, and it'll be starting to really kick in here Thursday the 19th, and we should be doing well through the 25th. Getting a little bit more current. Fetch number one, a little out of our window. Bigger, longer fetch. Portion of this will be sideband swell. Here's the one coming in behind it, a lot more powerful. This is the guy here that should have some 18-second forerunners and plenty of waves around the 23rd. And I wouldn't be surprised if we get some 5-footers out of this south to south-southwest swell. A lot of the energy will be passing off to our southeast, but take a look at that. Again, at minimum 4 feet Hawaiian scale, likely a few places hitting the occasional 5. The week of the 23rd. Keeping the animations going, that one quiets down, and then we go into a rather quiet period. Just hardly anything at all, just background swell. And it goes, the swell machine down there goes quiet from about Tuesday, Wednesday, the 24th, 25th, all the way through the 30th, which is a Monday, basically for the rest of the month. So we got to get what we can starting the next 2 weeks. Let's go ahead and take a look at the swells produced by the surface wind we were looking at. Ross Ice Shelf coming up, kind of a zonal track, as I said, sending a lot of its energy out, but those seas are easily 30 feet. Because the swell's so big, the periods will be so long. Thanks to swell dispersion, we'll be getting some sideband swell out of this guy, and we're still going to get overhead. And then look at this, some really big seas in this one, 38, almost 40 feet, and getting to act upon the seas prior. And this is Monday the 16th, add about 6-7 days on, and that's why we'll be looking at those 4 or 5 footers. It moves out of our swell window off to the southeast of Tahiti, and then there's hardly anything down there pointing our way. This number 1 and number 2 will be the last batches of swell to kick butt. Not this coming, but next. All right, the swell periods. The purples are showing the 18, 19, 20 second. Starting in the animations as they leave your window here. It takes about a few clicks and then we're getting waves. This is going to be for Wednesday, and then we get another new batch Thursday, Friday, and then another batch Saturday, Sunday, and then more to follow after that. So it's game on. Just wanted to do a quick glance here at the JSON altimetry. These overlays are showing some of these seas getting up to over 30 feet, 31 feet for maximum measurements. An average about 27 feet. That's pretty good. These swell heights in the open ocean lose about half their height every 1,000 miles traveled. So by the time it gets us up to us, we'll still hopefully this time have some 2.5 foot swells, maybe 3, at about 16 seconds. 16 seconds can magnify 2.5 times. All right, the hand-drawn surface charts. There are those pairs of highs all staying put. The ridges staying put as well. The weather, the atmosphere beginning to stabilize as this ridge of high pressure strengthens further to our northwest. This disturbance up here is lifting. We'll see a bit more stable weather, especially towards Tuesday, Wednesday. However, we do have this other one down below us here. Probably is going to cause the most trouble, if any, for the Big Island. We'll wait and see what the model guidance brings us over the next couple days. Weather can be harder to predict sometimes than waves. Now, from the surface all the way up to 20,000 feet, the water vapor loops, you can see that instability. It, again, is caused by this upper level spinner. You see it going counterclockwise here, and that creates this draw, this push, this flow that you're seeing in the upper atmosphere. All this down here, these firing thunderstorms, are all the intertropical convergence zone where the trades from the South Pack meet the trades from the North Pack, and they stay put in general. But if you're ever wondering, well, why is it cloudy today? This is the culprit. It is lifting. The high pressures will be reestablishing more stable weather and a bit stronger trade winds throughout the week. Small craft advisories. All right, here's another view of it. You can see a slight easterly flow, east-northeasterly flow to the lower level clouds. Drilling down a little bit further, most of the clouds kind of hitting Oahu, Kauai. Highs are going to be about 85 to 87. Lows about 75. In the lower level clouds, you can see a more east-northeast flow. Clouds mostly the upper levels. Here's a little closer look at the cloud cover. I guess a lot of the islands are fairly cloudy today. Showing some rain. We've got some, especially for Oahu. Even some sprinkles out there on the leeward side and out on the west. Windward Mauka areas will be the most cloud and have the most showers in the upcoming week as things normalize. And we'll finish up with the beautiful windy.com. Here we are stuck in the most geographically isolated population on the planet. Surrounded by water. There's that disturbance moving our way. Over here, as we move the animation forward, you can see how that thing does weaken as it gets closer, and by Tuesday and Wednesday it reaches just south of the Big Island. Here's a closer look at it. We will be seeing more east swell clipping us here, and finishing with the land down under. There's New Zealand over here, Australia of course, and there are these back-to-back-to-back systems that'll be pumping us up. As I've said, it's just a different way of looking at it. As good is that these have a partially captured fetch. The bad thing is that they are just on the east, on the edge of our swell window, but thanks to the size of them, we're looking good. And then in the long haul, we go rather quiet. This would be Thursday the 19th for about 4 or 5 days, kind of shut down for anything significant. And that's your local Swell Tracker. I'll be back with you next weekend. Have a great one till then. I'll see you in the lineup and at surfnewsnetwork.com.